How to learn songs on guitar quickly and more effectively. If you've been watching this channel over the last couple of weeks, you'll notice I've been putting out a lot of videos which are learn it in 5 or learn it in 10. And I've been getting a lot of pretty positive comments from people saying, I've learned that song in 5 minutes and I never imagined I'd be able to do it so quickly. It was a song that at one time I wouldn't have even tried to attempt because I thought it would be too difficult. So we're going to look at some of the strategies for how we go about doing that you can actually very quickly learn how to play a song. Now, the biggest piece, best advice you can give is get organised. It's not very rock and roll to be organised. You'll hear about rock bands where they wrote songs on the back of matchboxes or the back of a beer coaster, which sounds really cool to be able to do. But I used to be very disorganised. I had pieces of paper and scrap pieces of paper with things written on, and then I would get the piece of paper and I hadn't written on what the title of the song was, so I didn't actually know what all of this handwritten guitar tab or chord boxes even meant. So get organised. Get your print-offs for chord boxes, your guitar tab paper, your chord progression paper. They're really handy when you write your chords in so you know exactly. So what you want is a sheet that's going to, in 6 months down the line when you can't remember how to play something anymore, a sheet that you're going to look at, it's going to remind you of how to do it. That's what you want. It's all right having something that looks pretty and it's all authentic and accurate and everything, but it doesn't jump out at you to help you be able to play it. That's what you want. To get organised. If you know through watching this channel that I've explained an awful lot, practically nearly, not every, but just about Queen song. The top tip was get organised, have everything filed. Queen 1973 to 76 file. You open that, I open that up. First thing that hits us is a Keep Yourself Alive solo written out in a way that I'd be able to pick it up straight away if I couldn't remember how to do it. Someone the other day on a Skype lesson said they wanted to learn the guitar solo off It's a Hard Life. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how to do that or what the first note is. So I go to me Queen 1983-89. Starts off with the Works Machines. There you go. Second page, It's a Hard Life guitar solo. And quick look at that. Knew how to play it. Triggered, because I'd learned it before, triggered, and I was then able to give an explanation and had the guitar tab to send to someone else to explain how to do it. That's kind of where you want to get organised. So these videos of learning things in 5 minutes, very effective. Now when you go about learning a song, you go on YouTube and a lot of guitar tutorials are sometimes 20-30 minutes long. Some are done in 2 30-minute parts, which almost become like a feature film. It creates this illusion that the song must be really, really difficult and it's going to take you months of your life to be able to learn. Unfortunately, one of the reasons that YouTube videos are this length of time is more to do with the fact that you make more money out of long videos. If your video is more than 20 minutes long, it's going to make more money than a shorter video, which is all well and good, but sometimes you find yourself watching YouTube videos. Sometimes you literally have to check the title of the video because you don't know whether you're watching the right one because there's that much waffle. Hello, my name is, look, check my website out. I had this for dinner. I met me mate the other day, and 10 minutes in, you're still waiting for an explanation of the song. Sometimes as well, when guitar tab or chord boxes aren't used on the screen, it becomes difficult to follow because some of you that did, that had the guitar and they were explaining, you can play, it starts off with C major 7, you can play it here, then you go to F sharp minor, but you could also play the C major 7 in this position instead of that position, and then after you've gone from F sharp minor, you go to D flat 6, and at the finish you couldn't tell what order it was in, and there was nothing written out in front of you, and it leaves especially the beginner and intermediate guitars pretty confused. And I have watched guitar videos where I've already known pretty much how to play the song and I wanted a second opinion, so I already had a good idea how to play the song and was left completely baffled and I thought, well, I don't know how somebody who didn't know how to play the song would fare. So really get organised. Sometimes it's very difficult to make a guitar lesson that's going to suit all, because sometimes you can go too fast for some people, or it might be dragging for other people. So a one size fits all isn't always the way forward, because people have different ways of learning. There's visual learners who like to see it being played and they can pick up how to play it by watching what somebody's doing. There's other people who like the guitar tab, they like the sheet. Sometimes people will message me and go, I really like the video, but it would really help if I just had the sheet in front of us. I could print off and learn from that. You may remember the movie Amadeus, which was about Mozart, and he was asked whether he'd written his symphony, and he says, oh, don't worry, it's all in my head, which didn't go down very well. But a lot of guitarists are very good, successful guitarists are very good at retaining a lot of information, and they don't write anything down. Which is all well and good, but when they come to do explanations on how to play things, they've got nothing written down, and it's kind of all in their head, which doesn't necessarily translate into being able to explain how to play it. And it leaves the people who don't necessarily learn like that a bit bemused. There's a lot, when I was doing a lot of the Queen guitar lessons, I would ask for second opinions of guitarists who could play. A lot of them could play a lot better than me, but none of them worked with guitar tab, none of them wrote anything down, and it was all in their head. They would work with the record, work it out by ear, and kind of retain it. That's a skill that only certain people have. Other people don't learn like that, and therefore they kind of get left by the wayside. So we're going to look at how to get around that by getting organised and having a strategy when you're looking at a song. Now, one that I'm working on at the minute is David Bowie, or Bowie, is Changes. Now, I looked up the sheet music for this one, and this is a typical example of a song that you'd probably like to play, and you look at it and think, bit difficult, I'm not even going to attempt it. So we've got Bowie's Changes there. It's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages, and then you've got all the words at the end, so which would make you assume that it's even longer than the 6 pages. And it creates the illusion that you're going to have to memorize 6 pages. Can I memorize 6 pages? Probably not. The fact that you look at the intro and the chords are C major 7, D flat 6, D minor 7, E flat 7, F7, you're going to think this is going to be pretty challenging. 6 pages, chords like that, it's not your run-of-the-mill A, E or D, so therefore I think I'll skip this one. You might then, some years later, have something like the Bowie Little Black Songbook. Again, you've got changes written out. At first glance, look at all them chords. Well, there's a fair few chords on there. C major 7, which is written out differently to the sheet music that I just looked at. But again, even in the Little Black Book, it's written over 3 pages. So how are we going to tackle this? Are we just going to give up? Well, to somebody who already knows, this might sound pretty obvious. First thing to do when you're learning a song is listen to the actual song itself. Sounds obvious that, but it's amazing the amount of people who try to learn a song without actually first listening to it. Sometimes I've had guitar lessons where somebody will say, I'm really stuck with this song, I don't know how to play it, there's this part and that part, and I'll go, well, we'll put the record on and listen to it. You put the record on, listen to it, and immediately go, all right, that gives answer to the question. So it's not always obvious. But if we look at something like the Little Black Songbook, you've got our introduction there, starting off with the C major 7, C sharp 6, and so we're going to learn the intro. You've got verse 1. Now if we look at the chord progression for that, the chord progression is the same as the chord progression for verse 2 and verse 3, and the chorus are all the same, and then there's a bridge section, and then there's an outro. So straight away you're chopping that down so that your verse and your choruses are the same. So you've got your intro, your verses, your chorus. There's a very simple bridge section, which is just F, C, F, G. And then you've got your little outro, which is very similar to the intro, but just a different order of chords. So what you are going to now do is write that out. You're going to possibly get your chord progression sheet, write down your chord progression. If there's chords in that are difficult, them chords, the way they are written out in that book, you need a microscope to be able to see them. The voicings of them might not be what suit you. So you're going to get your chord box paper and write them out so you can see them. And then what you're going to have in front of you is a plan. So if you've got your intro, your verse and your chorus and your bridge and your outro, so there's like 4 parts. You put the song on, you write it out, then you put your song on, and then as you try to play it along, you start following and you've got a plan. And eventually you'll be able to play the song without even needing your sheets of paper. But if 6 months down the line you can't remember how to play it anymore, you've got the sheets of paper there to be able to look back on. You put the record on and you follow through, and then you'll pick it up again. So that's your plan of action with something, and most of the songs that you look at won't necessarily be as complicated as something like Changes, which has unusual chords in that are not normally associated with your rock and pop song. So that's your plan. You file it. What I'll do now, all my Beatles stuff, so I've got a file here where, because I started covering a lot of Beatles songs, I now have a file with the Beatles songs, and I now have a paperback writer written out on half a piece of paper. Everything I need to know for that. Day Tripper written out on a piece of paper. There's even the guitar solo there. When you're looking at songs, a song by definition is a repeated chord progression. Sometimes they're written out in a way that makes it sound more than it actually is. So your song will be a repeated chord progression, and there'll be a guitar solo. So once you've learned the structure of the song, then the solo, you've kind of got the whole thing together. In cases like bands like Led Zeppelin, when Jimmy Page plays the main riff, every time he plays it, he can do a little embellishment in it, which makes it ever so slightly different to the first time he plays it round. When that's been written out in a guitar tab book, sometimes then you end up with 20 sheets of sheet music, when all you really need to do is learn the main riff, and then you can worry about all these little embellishments, and you can really strip it down to one piece of paper where you can learn from. So that's what I'm doing for these videos, and I've been really surprised at some of the results. I've surprised myself with just yesterday I did Layla, the unplugged version. Again, if you just look at the basic structure of the song and you cut out all the guitar solo bits and you just look at the basic structure of the rhythm guitar, I had that explained in less than 3.5 minutes. There was even enough room for a bit of waffle to make it a 5.5 minute video. So that's the way to go. So the bottom line is, get organized, have a sheet that you can follow. If you can follow it and it's only one piece of paper or 2 pieces of paper, you'll be able to learn it and then get away where you don't have to look at the piece of paper at all, which is really the what you want at the end. Because if you're going to play on stage, you don't want to be getting up there with files and somebody to turn pieces of pages over for you as you play live, because nobody does that. And one thing that I've learned really from doing guitar lessons and doing them on YouTube is you learn a song better when you learn it in a way where you're trying to explain it to somebody else. If you can't explain it to someone else, then you don't fully know how to do it, if that makes sense. It's a bit like teaching your child to fasten his laces. It's something you've learned to do without even thinking, but when you come to explaining it, you find yourself not really knowing what it is you do. And when you figure out a way of explaining it logically and you go through it step by step, you end up knowing the subject better than you actually thought you did, even though you didn't think you'd be able to improve it. So I hope that's given at least one or two people something to think about as they try to learn songs more effectively, because I do get a lot of messages from people saying they've been trying to work out a song, they've watched YouTube videos, looked at Guitar Tab online, and they're completely confused, and they've been on for hours and eventually give up and they're asking for help. So I hope it helps them people as to how to go forward. Bottom line, get organised, and as always, thank you for watching.